Hey all, welcome back to the channel, and today we're doing a 2-for-1 when we look at the Dominus Criminal Pursuit set featuring Punch, Counterpunch, and Barricade. That's going to be our focus this time around in the latest GotBot True review. Hey all, welcome back to the channel. I'm your host, your most humble of hosts, Dennis Moulton, aka GotBot. As always, man, please like, comment, share, of course, subscribe, and while you're at it, light them up, baby. Hit that notification bell, please. It helps me out a ton. It lets you know when content of all sorts goes up here on the channel. Check out Machinery of Man, The Everything Factor, all the groups that I'm either a mod or an admin for. All those links in the description below, as well as all the links to all of my social media also in the description below. If you're in a position to help the channel to grow, you can use the donate link. Check us out on Patreon. See what we offer to you through Teespring, or of course hit the join button right here on YouTube to become a channel member. And this is the Dominus Criminal Pursuit 2-pack with Punch, Counterpunch, and Barricade. We are diving into Galactic Odyssey once again. I think this might be Encounter 4. The order that I'm getting these is out of order, but nevertheless. Now, I already have the original release of this guy from Power of the Primes. We'll see how this one matches up. And in terms of Barricade, I have a little QC thing that I'm going to point out when we look at him. And of course, he is a reuse of the... Really, he's a reuse of the Smokescreen version of the Earthrise mold, but that itself is a bit of a reuse and a retool of the Prowl/Blue Streak version. So, how well did it work out for this guy? We're gonna see when we dive into everything to do with these two lads over at the table. And today we dig into a 2-for-1 review on the Desert Planet subject to sandstorms Dominus with the Dominus Criminal Pursuit 2-pack of Barricade and Punch Counterpunch. Of course, before we look at these two lads, we're going to begin with the packaging first. And of course, we have like the kind of selects or Galactic Odyssey, if you will, packaging. When we open it up, we actually have stuff inside. This is like a map with many of the planets on it. We have this info card for Dominus, and it explains how it's a desert planet with sandstorms and blizzards, weirdly. It also says that the indigenous life forms are like small, unable to transform, transtector type bodies so that they can like endure the harsh climate of Dominus. Okay, cool. Nice to have a little bit of a backstory. Obviously, the two that are included here are the focus. And since they are the focus, they're the ones who get the instructions. Of course, these are the instructions for Barricade and Punch Counterpunch. I mean, they're fine. They're Earthrise instructions. I like these. They're printed large. They're bright. They're clear. They're all right. Punch Counterpunch comes with this blaster. It is exactly like the earlier release from Punch Counterpunch. But this one is cast in a lighter shade of yellow. A Barricade has two of these little shoulder cannon things, just like we have with Smokescreen and Blue Streak. The shoulder, I don't know, pistol blaster things here are done in kind of like a grayish lavender color. It looks cool. And this blaster, we've seen it before with the other versions of this mold. It is cast in lavender, it is painted in gold. I know that it's cast in lavender and painted in gold because, unlike with the other versions of this blaster, though the complaint was made with Prowl, I actually did break this one taking it out of package and had to glue the front back on, and I can verify that inside it is that lavender plastic. Luckily, I was able to line everything up and glue it back on, but it's a shame that it happened. So, something to be careful of when you take yours out of package. And here, of course, we have both of our boys. We're going to look at one at a time. With Barricade, just a slight caveat here. I did look at the Siege version of Barricade way back in episode 610. I am not a huge fan of that alt mode, but I will say this. The purple used for the windows there is beautiful. I wish that it carried over here instead of just the kind of clear windows, but you know, it is what it is. That being said, because we've looked at Blue Streak and Prowl and Smokescreen from Earthrise, we've seen the transformations in both directions. Prowl was most recent in episode 805. Smokescreen was episode 791, and Smokescreen is the one that is like the most like Barricade. And Blue Streak was episode 775. So he'll be the easier one to look at. Then we get to Punch Counterpunch. Punch Counterpunch, originally the one that came out during Power of the Primes, I looked at in episode 463. I was a little bit harsh on him because mine was missing a tire out of package. I provided an update once I got the tire in episode 664. I also contacted the company and we talked about what was in the box for a replacement for my Punch-Counterpunch in episode 493. And then I reviewed the thing that was sent as a replacement for Punch-Counterpunch, which was Cyberverse Ultimate Megatron, who don't even have elbows, in episode 496. So there was a whole story with Punch-Counterpunch. I like both of these guys. We will, for Punch-Counterpunch, look at the transformation going from vehicle back to robot, because we haven't seen that one documented yet. So, without any further ado... So Barricade is actually a really kind of interesting story, so to speak, because the original G1 version is actually this guy. Back this up a bit. This is the Micromaster, currently released as a part of another set. He's been named Runner, but he's actually the leader of the Racetrack Patrol, and in G1, he was Barricade. So Barricade didn't start out as a full-size police car. He started out as a diminutive blue race car that was a Micromaster. But he has had a name that's become so popularized, thanks to the live-action films, as being a full-size police vehicle, that they've almost gone back now and they've kind of reimagined G1 Barricade to also be a full-size police car, which of course leaves the quandary of him and this other guy having the same name, and that's why we get the name Runner, naturally. So it's an interesting thing that's happened. I don't know if it's ever happened before. In terms of how this works, well, it rolls just as fine as any of them. Either they roll well or they don't. The colors for the guy, I wish that we had like all 4 tires black. I don't know why. Like, why is that this color and then on the back it's black? You could have just put an ounce of paint there, or you know what, do all 4 with a bit of silver, something. It's a bit jarring. I didn't notice it at first, but other people did and pointed it out to me, and now that I've seen it, I can't unsee it. But I like the look of it for the most part. Taking these out, what is strange is, I can get all of this out, I'm going to be delicate with this now that it's broken, is we mostly have like a glass finish, but then we have like a matte here, and I think it's, yeah, a matte on the roof. It's a bit strange. I do like the Decepticon logo outlined in white and just being black. It's a bit strange, but I kind of dig it at the same time. I don't see anything here that says to punish and enslave, which that'd be cool if it was there. But I do like this mode. It is very Barricade-esque in terms of its look, and I think it makes sense that he would share a body type with the others. So, in vehicle mode, you know, this is how it looks. It'd be nice if there was some paint on the back there. It's alright. But we've seen this before in all of those that I said, so we don't actually have to do the transformation, so we can go from our boy looking like this in his vehicle mode to the way he looks in robot mode, which is like this. And yeah, here is the robot mode. And like, I dig this robot mode. I think it looks good. I like it. The paint apps for the guy, I mean, I want to say 10 because what really do we have it to compare it to? But we do have something to compare it to now. The Siege. And I thought the Siege was quite good. I love the way that the purple played off of the black. The lavender is a weird color, but I do like here that the lavender parts are broken up more with black parts instead of like the majority of the arm being lavender and the like entire kind of torso and thigh being lavender. I mean, to each their own. Honestly, if you prefer the color scheme of the Siege Barricade and that alt mode better, cool. If you prefer this one better, cool. If you don't like neither, cool. I'm gonna say it's, you know, I'm gonna say it's 9-ish, 9.5, I guess, because we don't really have much to compare to. So we'll be generous. We'll give him a decent start. Some people might say 10. They might say, hey, he's perfect. I like it. I think it's a good look for the guy. The transformation, this mold has been iffy. I would venture to say to you that I think the best, or the one that works the smoothest on, in my personal experience, is Smokescreen. But, and I expected the same here. It's the only part that's not smooth is the part that I think isn't smooth for most people. The lower legs. When you have to fold those feet up to go to vehicle mode and kind of snap them in, it feels like the paint is kind of rubbing there. So like, it's not quite as smooth as I'd like to fold up the feet. but I don't think it's quite as bad as probably like Prowl or Smoke or Blue Streak. I'm going to say that the transformation, again, it's pretty good for what it is, just that one area is a little bit tricky. I'm going to say again it's about a 9. I'll say, why not? Why not? The articulation is pretty good for a deluxe. I mean, we have a head that can go left and right, though I do have these shoulder pieces on now. If I pop those off, just so I can show the head left, right, little bit up and down. The door rings can pretty much get out of the way, and we can, you know, take our arm all the way around. Because of the way that it untabs there on the side, we can bring the arm way up on the side. We do have a bicep swivel. We do have a wrist rotation. We have an elbow to over 90 degrees. I mean, this one with nothing in it. Yeah, I mean a little bit over 90 degrees for sure. We have a waist on the guy. We have hips all the way out to the side, which I dig. They go all the way forward, all the way, no, not all the way back. They go back to only about there. Thigh swivel built inside the thigh. I think that's smart. We have a very deep knee, which I like. And we have pretty deep ankle tilt, like really deep ankle tilt. And I think that's about it, but you know what, for a deluxe, like I think that's a lot. Again, I'm gonna say it's about a 9. Like I think that overall, this guy is about a 9 or so. Here he is with his other mold mates. I like this mold. I'm thinking that perhaps, arguably, the most paint, I don't even know who has the most paint. Honestly, they all have really a fair amount of paint. I wanted to say Blue Streak, but like the inside of his legs doesn't have paint, and the other 3, no, not the other 3, Prowl doesn't have it on the inside either. Prowl, I done a bunch of custom work on. I like this mold. However, while I think Barricade is a 9 and a strong start to this set, and I think that this mold is great, it comes again with a little bit of a caveat. I feel like I'm doing a lot of caveats lately, and the caveat is this. A lot of people have encountered breakage at the knee with this mold because of the clear plastic, and where the windshield kind of folds. They've encountered breakage there, again because of the clear plastic, or so the claim is. I haven't encountered any of those issues on any of my copies. The only known issue that I've encountered is Barricade's blaster breaking. I glued it back together. It didn't happen with my Prowl because I'd heard it before and I was extra careful with it. I probably should have done the same thing with Barricade. I don't know. I like the mold, but I understand that there are like QC concerns that could either ruin it for some people or might make you leery about purchasing it. My experience has been good, but I think mileage may vary because of the materials used, and that's a shame, and that's on the company. And of course that brings us to the other half of this pack, being Punch-Counterpunch. Now, to be fair, if you haven't been keeping up, here's my kind of overview on Barricade. I think that he's a 9.5 for his paint apps. I think he's, say, a 9 for his articulation. And I'm going to say his transformation is an 8.5 to a 9. Like, it's okay. Overall, I'm giving Barricade a score of a 9. I think it's solid, but with the caveat that you need to be aware of the known QC issues with the translucent plastic. I mean, it is what it is. Then we get to this guy who we did get before, and I did review him before, and of course, I've talked about that kind of ad nauseum many times. And I don't even think that one of these is better than the other. We're doing it in vehicle mode because we already looked at the transformation going from robot back through other robot and vehicle. So now we're going to have an opportunity to document it in the other direction here. I would venture to say that the original release, this one, is more indicative of the shades of color used on Punch-Counterpunch in the Rebirth. We had more of an orangey yellow there. We had more of a darker blue there. So if you want something more reminiscent, color-wise, of the Rebirth, then I think this might be the way for you to go. Now, a lot of people have also pointed out and said that the new one that's come out has the colors, or the shades, I should say, more of Nightbeat, and I get that, but I feel like more accurately the new one that's come out is actually closer to the the colors that were used in the Headmasters. Like, I feel like this one is the North American colors and this one is closer to the Japanese colors. Not to say he is perfect. he's not, but he's not bad either. I like both vehicles. I really do. I do wish that this lad had the red rims, but such is life. He does have the like yellow detailing down around the bottom, so maybe that's where it went instead of the rims. Also on the back here, while we do have the tail lights, we do not have the license plate. So it'd be nice to probably have the license plate. But both of them on the front, they have paint. Arguably this one might have a little bit more down in the very lower sections, but overall, like, I don't know if it's really one is better than the other. I think they're both successful. They're just going for two different color schemes. I would say that the color scheme for this one, like I said, is Rebirth. The color scheme for this one is Headmasters. That's the way I kind of see it. Let's get into the transformation and then we'll get into some scores. Okay, so for the transformation, we begin by taking the blaster out. It fits in there quite like snugly, securely like the other one. Then we sort of like split the center here and we fold that side out. We fold this side out and then we should be able to fold down the two legs. Then we should be able to, see if I remember how to do this now. Yeah, fold in and fold up that and close it. Fold in. Yeah, fold in and fold up that and close it as well. Split the legs at the knee, so now we have the legs opened up. We're going to stand the guy up and then we're going to deal with the upper body next. And now that we've got him stood up, and by the way, I love the way that the legs are done. Like, the fact that this like folds all the way around, I think is so good, and it does fill in a little bit there. Now there's still some hollowness in there, but I don't know if there's a way, honestly, because of the way stuff folds up for the feet, so to speak. I don't know if there's a way to have dealt with it. I don't know. I think it's clever, but I mean, could an entirely different transformation scheme work? Sure. But I like for what it is, even though some people are definitely going to point out the hollowness in the lower legs. I don't know if there's a way around it. Then we come to the upper body and we split this off and we bring it down behind the shoulder, and we split this off and we bring it down behind the shoulder, and we shift the shoulders down if you didn't do so already. We fold out the two red hands, and then we open up, really, I guess we'll say the back of the guy, and we fold in the hood, and then we fold in the rest of the hood. It's all in the body. We close it up, and we take his blaster and we put it in his hand, and boom, in the end. Oh, and if you didn't move the top of his head to make sure his face is showing, do that now, and boom, in the end, here we have Punch in his robot mode. And I like it, man. I really like it. Again, if we look at the Japanese animation specifically, this is pretty darn close, man. Pretty darn close. I mean, maybe some slight like red dot detailing on the upper thighs, but besides that, this is pretty darn accurate. And here he is with the other use of this mold for the exact same character in different colors, and this is where things get interesting. Because if we look at the actual molding, if we look at the faceplate, if we look at the shape of the body of the head, the molding here is very much the Japanese animation. The colors for the North American version, we'll say, while they're the right shades, they're still not quite correct, because by rights, the bicep should be the like orangey yellow color, and the shoulder should be that blue color, and his face should have an actual face. It should be completely different. While I like the thigh detailing here, it's actually not really accurate to much of anything. So, in terms of accuracy, while some people, and probably myself included, might prefer the darker colors, the new one is actually colored more accurately, based on the idea that the molding and the body look that we're going for is the Japanese animation. So I'm going to say that the coloration at this point is quite high. Again, I'm not going to give it quite a score yet for anything, because we do have one other mode to go to. So I'm just going to take this guy off quickly for a moment, and we're going to put this guy in that other mode, because of course he can turn around, and when he turns around, we can rotate that hand around and take out the blaster here and rotate that hand around. So now the blue hands are out. We bring back the kind of top of the head there, and then we bring this up on this hinge, we rotate it out, and we bring it down. We bring this up on this hinge, a black hinge here, we rotate it out, and we bring it down. We bring that in. So now we put this back in his hand again, but now we have the sinister Decepticon spy, Counterpunch. And again, now things get a little bit interesting, even more so, especially when we compare both of our boys again. In terms of the like G1 animation or the Japanese animation, they're both very similar for Counterpunch. I would say, honestly, both of them sort of fit the bill for Counterpunch, arguably. This might be the closer color scheme for Counterpunch. Why? Because in North America and Japan, those hubcaps or wheel wells, whatever you want to call them, are supposed to be red. But in all honesty, while the red, and probably oddly, the seemingly darker blue, like I feel like the blue darkens a little bit when it becomes Counterpunch. I don't know. It's so weird. Like I feel like the punch is more accurate with this one. I feel like the Counterpunch is more accurate with this one. Neither is bad. Honestly, I don't even remember what I gave this guy. But I'm going to say that the coloration on the new one is about a 9. It definitely has the body type of Punch and Counterpunch. And if he had, honestly, the red wheels, I think he'd be pretty close on like an ideal kind of coloration form. Both of them are good. Both of them are great. The articulation, or sorry, the transformation, I think it's clever. I like it. I think it's interesting. I'm going to say that that too is about a 9. What about the articulation? Well, just moving this guy aside for a moment, the articulation, we have a head that can go left, right. That's true for both robots. The arms can go all the way around. Again, whether you have this facing out or down behind is true for both robots. The shoulder can go all the way out. I find it's a little easier to bring the shoulder out for Punch than it is for Counterpunch, obviously. We have a bicep swivel. We have elbow to 90 degrees for sure. We don't have a wrist rotation, but it's because of the way the hands are. I don't think it's possible. No waist rotation, which is a shame, but I don't know if they could have. I think they could have worked that in there. I'm not sure, but I feel like they could have. Leg goes all the way out to the side. The leg can go back. It can go forward. We have maybe slightly shy of 90 degrees or 90 degrees. We do have a swivel up here, but like it's like built inside the thigh, and it's only more of a wiggle than anything. And no ankle. So this guy, it's definitely an older, say, mold with certain articulation limitations, but it's still fun, it's still good, and I think in terms of what we've gotten for Punch Counterpunch, it's still probably the going best version. I'm going to say that his articulation, at least in the modern era with what we have, is more like no waist, no ankle, no wrist. Honestly, while my heart wants to say like it's still good, it's still at 8.5, I feel like for the things that are missing that we've now become accustomed to seeing, it's more like a 7.75. I like it though. Overall, this guy, if articulation is your measure, is going to be a little bit less than Barricade. I would say, based on my scores, that this guy overall is about an 8.5. So what can we say about the set as a whole? Well, we have, say, an overall score of a 9 for Barricade, about an 8.5 overall for Punch Counterpunch. I'm going to say that the set is about an 8.75. It's definitely worth getting if you missed or want both of these guys. If you want all of the Galactic Odyssey sets, get it. If you want a Punch Counterpunch and you missed it before, get it. If you want Barricade because you like this mold better, get it. If you are happy with the Siege Barricade, then you probably don't need this one. If you already have the previous Punch Counterpunch, then you probably don't need this one. This is very much, the worth and the value here is kind of like the Biosphere pack. If you already have the 2 clones, then you don't really need, I think it's the Biosphere pack, then you don't really need that pack unless you want all of the Galactic Odyssey like cards and stuff. But like in terms of the actual releases, it's a great set if you missed the clones. If you didn't miss them and already got them, there's no need to have it. Same here. If you're happy with Siege Barricade and you're happy with the previous Punch Counterpunch, then there's nothing here for you. For me, I wanted this Barricade because I don't have the Siege one, though I reviewed it. It wasn't my jam. In terms of the Punch Counterpunch, I don't know. I got two. I only need one, but I think both of them are great. Solid set, but its value and its worth, very much in this case, while there, is going to be a subjective call of if you need it or not. And here we are once again, and here they are. Look, I like this set. First things first, when it comes to Barricade, this is a complete revisioning from the G1 Micromaster that he was, obviously popularized by his appearance in the live-action film franchise. And this is kind of a revisioning of him as a G1 full-size character, and I think it makes sense that he would use this body type. I like the head sculpt, I like the gold face. It's too bad that my golden blaster broke, or bronze, if you will, broke, but luckily I was able to fix it. Be careful with yours would be my suggestion. I haven't encountered any of the issues with the clear plastic, but I understand the concern of the clear plastic. I absolutely get it. I like the guy, but I also understand the argument if you prefer the Siege. I love the purple on that. I just wasn't a fan of the alt mode, but I understand why people are. And some people will just say, you know what? I like the way he looks in the movie, and that's it. For me, I'm probably going to either rename this guy, or I'm going to rename the movie one, or maybe both. Who knows? We'll see kind of how it goes, but I plan to have them as separate characters. So yeah, we'll see kind of what happens there. But I do like this mold. That being said, then we have this guy in the pack as well, and I think that this guy is great. A little bit dated by the standards that we kind of have established now for things like articulation, but fun all the same. I liked the original, even if he was missing a tire. And I like this reuse. The colors are different. One, as I said, I believe is more kind of rebirth coloration. The other is more, I think, Japanese Headmaster's coloration, or, as a lot of people have pointed out, kind of like Nightbeat's shades. However you want to look at it, that's up to you. But, I like that, you know, how you split the body here, how the legs kind of fold in on themselves. There is some hollowness, but like at least down around the foot section. I don't know if it's avoidable, to be perfectly honest with you. Cool car, cool robot, and then another cool robot mode here. The body type, the look, very much is the Headmaster's look and I guess body style, which is slightly different, at least for Punch, than we got in North America. This might be the better option to go. I don't know which one I like better. I don't think that there's a loser whether you go with this one or the other one. It's really just a matter of degrees of great. As a set, I think they're pretty fun. Are they necessary? No. Some people have said that they're skipping this one over. I get it. If you have Punch Counterpunch, why not? If you have a version of Barricade you're happy with, why not? I understand it. For me, I really wanted the Barricade, and this guy was just a bonus. Fun fact, the cost of these two is the exact same price I paid for the original Punch Counterpunch. So, you know what? There you got Punch Counterpunch along with the little Titan Master. You did get a nice box, and you did have some more paint apps, but here you actually get two full deluxe class offerings. I think the better value might be this set. Let me know what you think about the Dominus Criminal Pursuit. I appreciate you guys coming by and giving me some of your extremely valuable time. If you are in a position to help the channel, you can use the donate link. Check us out on Patreon, see what we offer to you through Teespring, or of course you can hit the join button right here on YouTube. Wow. While you're at it, hit the subscribe button as well. Stick around, have some fun with us. Don't forget that somehow, some way, each and every day you do make a difference. And I look forward, baby, to the next time that you and I get together to have another visit, either in the live streams on Thursday nights at the stop motion premieres or the old-fashioned way, baby, right here inside the videos.